Welcome, my name is Matt, and I'd like to welcome you to my van. This is a 2025 Sprinter on a 24 chassis. I did not build it, so I know a lot of van lifers are proud of their van builds. I've been living out of the van this van for a year and a half, traveling around in vans for maybe the last 10 years. Prior to this van, it was a 2005 Chevy Express, which was not nearly as nice as this. Couldn't stand up in it. There was no shower, there was no toilet, it was pretty rudimentary. So this was definitely a big upgrade.
Yeah.
I wanted something with big electrical system, I wanted something with an indoor shower, and I wanted something that was kind of simple. I had zero hope that there would be anything built within 100 miles of Philadelphia that would be a cool van, but what the heck. And lo and behold, there is a company in Toms River, New Jersey called Nomad RVs. And they had this van pictured, drove over, checked it out, and I mean, immediately I was like, this is it. So the front of the van here, it's pretty standard Mercedes Sprinter. It's an all-wheel drive, 4-cylinder, yeah, pretty much basic setup. I do travel alone. I live out of this van alone, so this passenger seat, I've basically just turned that into my library. So I've got, some of my current reading list here, and the little table. This is pretty much the only thing that I built in the van was this table. So, and this just actually, it'll pop up and out.
Oh, nice.
So, I saw something similar online, and they were selling it for like $150. And so, my dad and I one night, he lives in Ohio, and he's got a fantastic shop, and he's all the tools, and I'm like, hey, I think we can just build one of those. So it's nice when you're driving, if you want. I put some snacks up here. I usually get like a big tub of hummus and chips or pretzels. If I'm having dinner, I'll usually sit in this little banquette right here. This is just kind of a standard table. Of course, this table, you can see it'll slide up and out if you don't want. But yeah, this is pretty chill.
Yeah.
To eat. So this is my entertainment system right here. I just take my iPad and watch a movie if I want, or what have you.
Is this storage by chance, or is it just?
It is, yeah. It's fantastic storage. It's great. So you just take these off.
Okay.
And then, some climbing gear and just obviously frisbee stuff, more cast iron. Anyway, so there's a bunch of cool stuff in there.
Great.
A lot of room. It's my laundry hamper. Nothing high tech, right? A little bit of background. I am a pilot for an airline. And I'll let you figure out which one based upon where I travel. The van life, I think, is very conducive to airline pilots. I mean, it's a career where you can be based pretty much wherever you want. We have bases all throughout the country. And since you can fly for free, it's easy enough to maybe live, or travel around in your van in, say, Colorado, and then commute to Dallas, or hang out down in Alabama and check that place out, and then maybe commute up to New York or Miami or wherever. So it's a very nomadic lifestyle. Pilots in general is obviously even if you had a house in New York City or a house in Dallas or whatever, you're still hitting the road, and you're on the road 10, 12, 15 nights a month sometimes. Living out of hotels, obviously. So you're used to being away from home. I'm from out west in Utah, where there are lots of mountains and canyons, and so I love the outdoors. After a while, I started, missing the mountains and missing the canyons, and I thought, well, this was when I had my Chevy Express. Maybe I'll change bases, and so I switched to Dallas and started, living back out west, living up in Colorado in the summer, living down in Arizona in the winter, and then I would just commute back and forth. The fridge, it's an awesome fridge, 115 liter, a little freezer drawer up top, so don't really have much, nothing exciting in there right now.
It's kind of nice that it opens out like that, so it's tight,
I think that, so I mean, some people are like, all right, well, this is cool if I need to get in here and grab like a beer or a drink. Because I do have a table where if not camped on the streets of New York, right? But if I'm somewhere really pretty up in Colorado or down in the deserts or something, and it's a nice place where I can put the awning out, I'll oftentimes cook out here. Down here, I just keep it in the box for protection.
Okay.
But this is the induction cooktop. This is probably where I cook the most,
Right.
which is really nice. You know, you can look outside, you got good light. You've got the Max Air fan right here, so it's, you know, blowing whatever up and out. And it's just kind of out of the way, so I can use this area for prepping, cook, you know, slicing and dicing.
There's like a good amount of counter space, I feel, with having this and that. So
there really is. There's a ton of counter space and a lot of storage too. I mean, you know, I've got this is kind of a junk drawer, right? And then another big, deeper drawer, which I got full of just documents and more junk. And then, of course, this is the sink well. The sink, I usually, and a lot of people will use the sink as quick, easy storage, right? Like just throw everything in there so it doesn't slide around. Up here, again, not a whole lot, not a terribly exciting.
You have a microwave?
Yeah, there's a microwave here. I don't really use it that much, to be honest with you. I've used it, and I've had the van for like a year and a half. I've probably used it maybe 5 times or 6 times, if that. I don't like it, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, microwaved food, generally speaking, isn't very good for you. Right? And I try to be pretty healthy. You know, I like to exercise. I'm active, and I'm not really a microwave food kind of guy. So, to me, it's wasted space. It's wasted weight. I'm just so lazy. I haven't done this, but I'm thinking I'll just take this out. And then take. I think you can take this venting plate out. I probably won't add a door like this. What I'll do is maybe just put, you know, just drill or maybe use magnets or something, I don't know, and then put some webbing, or not webbing, but like netting.
So
and then just use this as more dry food storage, cereal boxes or bottles or whatever.
That's a good idea,
So, because that's a lot more storage.
For sure.
Of course, tons of storage back here. This is more, so these are like, you know, just pants, underwear, you know, knick-knack stuff. I'll watch van build videos, right? And some of these vans are beautiful, absolutely stunning. But then you're like, man, where in the heck do you put your clothing at? Like, I guess a lot of the van build outs are for weekend warriors, and maybe they just, you know, live with one pair of shorts and a t-shirt. But you know, the reality is, I mean, if you're full time out of a van, you're going to need a lot of storage for clothing and for your toys. Like some of these builds are beautiful. They'll have big banquettes in the back, or, you know, seating areas. But I'm like, man, where do you put all your backpacks full of your climbing gear and your bikes and your kayaks and your all this kind of stuff, right? So, which is what's going on down here. Now you can't see it from here, but when I open the doors in the back, you'll see this thing's got a huge garage, and I got all my toys under here. So here's the other thing. This bed's gigantic, right?
Is it a queen or like?
It's like a queen.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's bigger than a queen. But it's not quite the size of a king. It's what they would call a north-south orientation, right? This doesn't have the little pop-outs on the side. Like some people will put those additional window pop-outs. But, you know, this, I just have, you know, these are nice for cross ventilation if you're someplace and it's starting to get toasty. You can open those up, which is great. And I also have shades. And I only pulled the shades off for this video. Because
thank you.
Because believe me, if you're on the streets of New York, you're not going to want to be sleeping right here, you know, and have some dude, you know, check. I mean, it depends on what you're into, I guess. But
oh, is that a guitar?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I sleep with my guitar. Like... You know, 95% of the time, it's just me in it. And so I thought, man, you know, I got a lot of stuff that I want to bring. I want to bring my guitar. I want to have, you know, I didn't want to sell a lot of stuff when I was like transitioning to this van. Like, I'll just use the bed as storage. And that's all I'm actually storing up here.
Right.
But also, one of my hobbies is paragliding, and so I had a big paraglider that I would keep up here in the daytime because it was taking up too much space in the garage because I had too many other toys.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my. It's the Nomadic X2 for those who are interested. It kicks butt. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So it's like so much so you can see my orientation with the vents.
Yeah, it's like
so I'll have one vent coming back here to the bed area, and then the other two going up front.
Right.
And I mean, if you really wanted to cool the front, you could do that. If you really wanted to cool the back, you could do that. Anyway, this thing is wicked, man. I mean, I was here last summer, and I don't know if last summer was particularly hot in New York or not, but I had no problems whatsoever. This thing, and it wasn't even, I think I had it in the eco mode the whole time. You don't have to have the inverter running or anything like that, so it's off of DC, and it barely drains anything. It's, this is the panel right here where you can kind of see the different systems. So I got 100% power right now.
Yep.
I do have solar panels. Let's go to the main page here. So you can see that there's a little bit of power going from the solar panels over to my battery. I'm at 100%. I'm currently drawing 29 watts, which is probably just either the puck lights and the fridge. You know, that's a great question. Yeah, we all want to be lighter on the land, right? And live sustainably. As to whether you can do that with van life, I would say that there's, yes and no. The question is, let's say if everybody lived out of a van, could all of us, and all 350 million of us in the United States live out of a van, and would that make it more sustainable, less sustainable? I don't really have the answer there. My footprint on the land, I mean, obviously I'm using gasoline to drive around, but so are a lot of other people. Some people have, especially in New York, they might have a commute coming in from Jersey or Connecticut or wherever. I guess the main thing with living out of a van is that you don't want to be viewed as a burden, right, on the landscape or the community. And so I will say that, if you are parked, especially in a place like New York City, it's a wonderful city. The people are great, and I say that, and people are going to be like, what? But really, for van lifing, they're great because they kind of have this attitude of live and let live, right? They've seen far stranger things than somebody opening up their door and cooking or making a sandwich or something. So most New Yorkers are really accommodating to van lifers, more so than in other cities for sure, which is kind of ironic. But if you're living out west, you're not too concerned about whether or not you're being a burden on the locals or the landscape because you're out on public land and everybody's camping out there. You do get into a habit of not using much water. I've got 36 gallons of water, right? So I don't just open up the faucet and let it run while I brush my teeth. And I think that's easy for people to do if they have, where's their water coming from? I don't know. It's limitless, right? Well, no, I got 36 gallons and I need to make that last for the next, 10 days, right? And so you're going to just barely, use the bare minimum of water. I'm not really tapping into the local electrical system, right? I'm not, it's a self-sustaining system, which is amazing, right? I'm not relying on the electrical grid at all. This is completely off-grid.
Right.
And I've never had to juice up the battery with the engine. And the engine's got a dedicated alternator for just the battery, the house batteries. The starter battery is a different story, but the house batteries have a separate alternator. And so, anytime you're driving, it's always charging the batteries. So we'll take, for example, with paragliding. I love it. And there's a place that's maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours north of here, up Mount Brace. And I'll drive up there, and some people will just go up there, paraglide, fly around, then they come back, so they make a day trip out of it. Obviously I've got everything with me, so I can go up there, I can spend the night, or I can spend a couple nights, however, and I can live out of my vehicle and not have to make the round trip drive to go out and do something. And that also is really nice too, like with I don't know, with parking, for example,
Yeah.
if you live right here, you're going to want to park like within a block or two of your apartment, right? And so
Right.
you're going to circle around and you're going to wait for that spot to open up right here. Whereas I don't really care. Wherever I park, I'm already home.
Yeah.
So if I have to drive, 6 blocks down the road to find a parking spot, cool.
Yeah.
I'm as close to home as I can possibly be, right? So you don't. So that kind of worry, it's like, oh, am I going to be able to find parking? Is not an issue at all because, you
Yeah.
just kind of park wherever.
Yeah, totally.
Which is great.
Do you paint?
No, that's
Okay.
my girlfriend that
Oh, pretty.
she painted a couple seams there, and
Yeah.
what's one of the neat things about this fabric, this siding,
Yeah.
and also on the ceiling for that matter.
Yeah.
And we just kind of discovered this by accident. It's like, hey, I bet Velcro would stick to that really well.
Oh, yeah.
And
'cause
so
it's like, yeah.
it does. So this is just a
Oh,
little
nice.
Velcro backing on
Right.
there. Insulation behind it as well, of course.
Yeah.
As far as like in the back, some people have, again, will have TVs set up or something like that. And so this is like, let's say it's movie night, and we're back here.
Yep.
This is high tech, right? I'll
Yeah.
just take one of my little footy socks here, roll that up, set that right there, and then with my iPad.
Oh.
So there we have it, a high-tech movie night right there.
That's.
And
it fits perfectly in that little.
I know it fits
thing.
perfect,
It's fun.
and
That's
what
great.
more? I'm pretty simple. And I got buddies out west who are like, man, how come you're not doing this? How come you don't set that up? Or this
Yeah.
kind of. And I'm like, well, honestly, for my job,
Yeah.
I stare at screens all day long, and I'm
Yeah.
online, and I'm doing it. And it's like when I'm, camping in the van somewhere, especially out west, like the last thing I want to do is be like, staring at screens,
Yeah.
right? This is my current reading selection now
Yeah.
for in bed. It's
What
nothing,
are you reading? By the
well,
way?
it's really nothing.
Okay.
So I'm studying Spanish, so
Oh,
this is
cool.
that. And then this is just a cool book on weather. I wanted a shower,
Yeah.
and it's not that I'm real vain or any of that. I'm an outdoor guy, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like I have to take 3 showers a day. That's
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
But if I'm camped out in the middle of somewhere, or if I'm whatever, even if I'm here, right? And let's say I gotta be at work at 5:30 in the morning. Well, I'm probably not going to go to the gym, to take a shower. Brief mention there, a lot of van lifers will have
Yeah.
a membership to Planet Fitness. I love to climb. Been
Yeah.
doing it for a long, long time. So I have memberships to Vital, which has several locations. Of course, the big one being here in Brooklyn. Also to Movement, which is another gym here. They've got an awesome location. One of my favorite places to go, actually, is over in Harlem. And yes, I do van life over in Harlem,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. It's one of my favorite neighborhoods. There's a full-length mirror here. This is something I put on there.
Nice.
This is just an add-on. What are you going to do with all this space? Some people consider it wasted space. So what I decided to do was turn it into, if you want to go sneak up there, a closet.
Oh.
So I want to like roll my shirts up in a cabinet, right? And they'll get all wrinkled and everything.
Yeah.
So I put this shower rod in there, this curtain rod,
Yeah.
and you can probably see in there are these cords. And this is a modification that I'll show you a little bit later, but the weight of all the clothing and the shoes especially caused the rack to keep falling down. And so I did this modification just to keep it up. So I got all my shoes, some ties, belts, whatnot.
Nice.
There's a Laveo dry flush toilet right there, which I'll tell you about here in a second, which is awesome. I want to take a shower.
Yep.
Super easy. So I'll just, take these clothes off, and I won't go the whole thing, but I'll just come over here and I'll put them on this, which a lot of people will use as like a curtain for privacy, but I don't have that. I just use the window coverings.
Yeah.
The shoe rack, it's just Velcro. I won't do it completely, but so you just pull that off.
Yeah.
Take the toilet out, or you don't have to, but you can. The curtain rod just comes out. These are clove hitched cords. So it takes all of about less than a minute to remove all this stuff, put it out, and then I've got my shower.
Nice.
And so there's the faucets there, and then it's, just on a wand. You put the wand right there if you want.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put this toilet right, because people are gonna wonder, what in the heck?
I know.
All right, so this, it just, it drains out into a gray water tank, 20-gallon gray water tank underneath.
Gotcha.
And
Do you usually take out the toilet when you shower?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I usually take the toilet out when I
Yeah.
go to the bathroom.
Okay.
First of all, there are several different types of toilets. This is a Laveo dry flush.
Okay.
So it's basically just a Mylar bag.
Oh.
It's a big Mylar bag, right? And then you go to the bathroom, you flush, and it'll just like whirl around. It doesn't like whirl the contents around.
Right.
It spins the top of a section of the Mylar bag so that it's tight, like seals it up, and so it's airtight. Kind of sucks it down in a way so that it creates an open bowl for the next use. And each Mylar bag is good for about 15 uses, and each bag is $18.
Ew.
So it's a little bit more than $1 to go to the bathroom. Now, some people are like, well, that's a lot. I don't use it that much, right? It's good for 15 uses. This current cartridge that I have in here, I put that in there in December. It's been in there for a while.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this is this system anyways. Now, if I were to have waste in a composting toilet for 5 months in the van, this place would be overwhelmingly, you would just be like, what died in here? This is awful. But this bag, that's one of the cool things about it, especially for me, for people who don't use it very often, is that the contents can stay in the bag for months and months. It doesn't stink the van up. So that's really nice. If you're an infrequent user of the toilet, then I would say the dry flush toilet. I'm not, sponsored by them or anything, but they're not cheap.
Yeah.
But it's, I think these are around, I think 1,000,
Yeah.
$1,100 or something like that, $1,200. Well, I like having it portable because let's say I am camping out west somewhere. I'm in the deserts of Arizona or New Mexico, or I'm up in the mountains, You're camped out for 4 or 5 days or more. It's nice to be able to take the toilet out and put it outside and set it up in a really scenic location, right? If you've ever been on a multi-day river trip, out west somewhere, or anywhere in the world for that matter, common thing is at the campsite, just to kind of, for privacy and just to keep, whatever odors and whatnot, is they'll set the toilet up far away from the camp. But there's always kind of this contest, that guides will have where they will try to set the toilet up in the most scenic view, right? So that when you're going to the bathroom, you just have these grandiose views. Or, even if you're in the city, with the doors closed and everything, I guess you could go to the bathroom and watch the world go by rather than being in your shower.
Yeah.
But the other nice thing, too, is that if it was fixed in the shower, if I wanted to go to the bathroom, if I was, with somebody that wanted to use the shower at the same time, they couldn't. There's all sorts of logistical advantages, right? The Fiamma awning is awesome. We didn't talk about the heater much, but this is an outlet for the heater. So big cargo box here, just stuff, usually for like camping. I got, some wood, so if you want to have a little campfire here on in the park. The spare tire, another rack for tying stuff down. I'm thinking about getting maybe a bike rack right there. This is where all the toys are stored. Mountain bike, a bunch of climbing gear, some paragliders, things. This is a inflatable kayak. If you're a van lifer and you're like water sports, I highly advise you look up Alpaca pack rafts. And whether you're wanting to do calm water trips over on the East River or the Hudson, or whether you're wanting to do whitewater trips, on the Youghiogheny or the Colorado, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The boats are awesome. For now, if I want to go golfing, it usually takes me about 2 or 3 minutes to offload the bike and the backpacks, get the golf clubs out.
Yeah.
A little bit of a pain in the butt, but hey,
Yeah.
I got everything I need
Yeah.
in the garage.
For sure.
The water system, it's a 36-gallon tank. I can open this up and show you, but there's nothing much in there, just a tank. This is where you fill it up. I've not been yet, but apparently shout out to Brooklyn camper vans just over here in East Williamsburg.
Right.
Apparently they'll let you fill up your tank there for free. So at some point I'll look those guys up when I run out of water.
Yeah.
This, of course, is where you would plug this in.
Okay.
This is an outdoor shower. I've got an attachment that suction cups onto this window,
Yeah.
which is great for this little nozzle.
Right.
And so you can keep it up there and then kind of shoot water on you. The electrical system on this thing is pretty kick-ass. I've got 3 lithium iron phosphate batteries, 270 amps each, so 810 amps. It's more than anybody's going to need. So even without the solar panels on top, or without running the engine at all to recharge the batteries, if I don't need to run the AC unit, I can easily boondock for, you know, a week or more. And that's without the solar. And this will tell you what your battery power is. So I got a 12-volt system, so I got a ton of juice. And then your fresh water quantity at 75% right now, your gray water. And then this is black water, which is not connected because I don't have a black water tank. You know, if you were to, again, be in some area that was wide open, you could zip this up, roll it up, you clip it up top there, and then you'd have, you know, the classic Instagram views of the coastline or the mountains or whatever. Here on the city streets of New York, probably don't want to do that. Again, depends on what you're into, I guess. Yeah, we've got 280, so it's 360 watts of solar. This is the Nomadic X2 air conditioning system, which is top notch. Really nice, super. And then this is the outlet for the Max Air fan right here. And then the white is the Starlink. And this, the rack all around it is, I mean, it's pretty full strength. You could latch all sorts of stuff to the top if you wanted to. More duffel bags. That's one of the things I think that is important for new van lifers especially. There's so many people that are like, oh, I gotta get the van perfect before I hit the road. And you know what? That's not true at all. You know, you can just take a $5,000 Chevy Express, you know, that's a gutted cargo van, and then just hit the road. Put a cot in it, sleep on a sleeping bag, you know, have a Yeti cooler or just a styrofoam cooler. My advice is just hit the road. You'll sort it out on the road. You don't have to figure it out while you're living in a house, because that's not how it's going to be on the road. What you need on the road is going to be a lot different than what you think you need on the road. Right? It's easy to say that when you're living in a, you know, a swank Sprinter. But again, bear in mind that I was in a Chevy Express for years and years and years, and it had nothing. So, so you kind of learn what you need and what you can get away with. Where to next, or what next? I mean, that's a great, you know, life's just a big adventure, right? And one of the things that I love about my job is that I do get to move around if I want. And so, with the van, I will follow the good weather, because people are like, wow, doesn't it get, you know, cold here in the van in the wintertime? And the answer is, well, it would if I stayed here, but the reality is I'm heading south because my house is on wheels. And so, like I said, last winter I was in Miami. I think next winter, you know, this upcoming winter, I'm going to go to Phoenix and get back out into the desert. And then next summer, maybe try out Chicago, you know, spend some time up in Minnesota or up, you know, upper Michigan, and then commute into Chicago for work. And when I say commute, I don't necessarily mean that I have to drive all the way in from Minnesota or, you know, the UP to get to Chicago to work a trip. It's like I'll just park at the nearest airport wherever I'm at, you know, Marquette or Minneapolis or wherever, and then I'll fly into Chicago to work a trip. Right. That's what I mean by commute.